Hello, hello! It has been a while. Did not expect it to be that much time between my streams, but head has been very empty this week due to a particular thing. But here I am. I unexpectedly had a day off from work today. Did not know that the company was closed today, but by golly did I take advantage of it. I had a bit of a nice restful morning in a way. Had to run out on an errand during lunchtime. Got hit by a severe storm in the middle of my errand, but all good. Oh cool, Cheeky's here. Hello Cheeky. Can you, before anybody else comes in, can you test my new redeem for me? Because I could not test it. Oh, Nick is here. But yeah, can one of y'all test the new redeem I have? Oh, there was several things all at once. Hello, hello. Yeah, I was. I have been licked. Alright, cool, so that worked. Woo! I have a new redeem. Currently, it is only 200 stars. This will likely change in the future. I'm kind of tinkering a little with my streamer. I don't know what you call it, but the streaming tool that I use for the daily check-ins and stuff. Turns out you could do a lot of stuff with it, and I want to explore it a little bit. But yeah, currently, right now, you can spend 200 stars and travel through the Veil yourself and find interesting things. Cheeky sure did find something. Let's see. A lot happened at once. Yeah, maybe I need to establish a more longer cooldown or something. I mean, eventually it's going to change. I want to overhaul it. Hey, that's rude to skunk people. Hey Zach, remember that fan art you made just recently? That was so cool. Yeah? Yeah, what about it, Nick? I need to fix my watch. What? What do you mean? What did I do? What did I... what did you mean? I am innocent. I am innocent. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna go switch over. Or nah. Not worry about what Nick did. I mean, I can't worry too much, because you're my friend. It's not like you would do something mean or spiteful, I hope. That's so funny. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to get that game on the Switch, and I never did. And I think someone was like, oh hey, that's on sale. I was like, oh that's cool. I'm not gonna get that right now, but I'll throw it on my wish list for later. Cause yeah, I forgot that game existed. Well, thank you. Oh, did. Okay, there we go. Twitch was just being stupid, which is not unusual for Twitch. Oh! Thanks,
Amaya
Amaya.
Okami just subscribed for 5 months. Happy 5 months of a...
Thank you, Amaya. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so... Oh, oh, oh. Hi! Hi, Pixel. We've bumped into each other so many times today. um... Yeah, so a couple more people have showed up, so... Yeah, I have a new redeem. Currently, it is 200 stars. This is going to change. Oh, the piano is hitting it a bit heavy there. Oop, that is not the right software I wanted to click on. Aw, look at that. Cheeky found a vial that smelled like stinky cheese. But, Maya found a friend. Actually, I really should update that. That should be their friend, not your friend. You know, well, it might not be a horror friend. But yeah, I am experimenting with new redeems, and making them thematic. So the way they're redeemed and purchased and stuff may change, but for now, you can have a little bit of fun for cheap. There is currently 20 worlds and 20 discoveries. So that's quite a few combinations, but not really that many combinations. I'm going to continue making the list longer. Went through a portal in the Vale, found a world that is littered with floating islands. They found a person with gills, but also feathers. Yeah, so I want to add more to the list. That way, there'll be less chances of repeats. Yeah, wanted a bit more to do with the channel. There's something else that I would like to try getting, but that one costs money, so I'll get that later. Plus, I would want to customize that, and I don't know how I would customize that just yet. That's an interesting combo. Okay, so yeah, a little announcement. I went ahead and already pulled up my obsidian, but that's okay, I'll still ah, so mean. Free water. That's creative, I love it. Yeah, salty water. Shreds tears, as in rips. Shred tears, yeah. So yeah, a wizard's gonna get dehydrated. Okay, so... Oh, meanwhile, lack of water. Hey, look. That book would have been useful. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to make it very clear that they're normal-sized earthworms, but they're sentient. Oh, a 30 stream streak. Wow. Nice. So yeah, wanted to announce, I guess kind of announce, I don't know. It makes it sound like it's a really big deal, but it's not really a big deal. But I am writing not quite an adventure. I'm calling it a scenario because adventures imply, like, the way I've seen adventures usually written is that they're pretty structured and specific in telling you what happens when. And what I am writing is a little bit more open-ended and a little bit more flexible in the adventure part. And I'm attempting to make it relatively system agnostic and for solo play. So it is going to require a game system that kind of has combat and has magic. So you would basically need to be able to play a mage class character. And you would make yourself some side characters, some supporting characters. If your game system does not support companions who can help you in like combat and stuff like that, each of these side characters will have an action, an assist action that you can use instead. And then there's going to be some guiding questions and some tables, a couple oracles. There's going to be a couple of clock mechanics. But yeah, theoretically, you would be able to take, like, Legends of Zakkariiart, for example, which is probably going to be the biggest game example of what you could use to play it. You could take Legends of Zakkariiart and combine it with this scenario, and you would be able to have yourself a solo adventure. But a lot of some of the solo adventures I've seen, they're pretty specific. Like, your character does this thing and then fights these 3 guys. Well, what if my character didn't do that? Like, I didn't like that they effectively told you what your character was doing. I don't want my character to do the thing that they said they did. Maybe it's not in character for them. Like, maybe they are not that chatty, so they would not chat up the bartender at this specific moment or something like that. I just got that in Dracanum and back solo as well. Heck yeah! Congrats. It's definitely worth it. Ooh, and covens, yeah. I don't know if you could play covens with this idea. Covens, you're in a school, so wouldn't really... Maybe after the school. I'd have to think about it. Amaya would actually be able to help me. Amaya has played covens quite a bit. I played a little bit of it over a year ago. I need to pick it up again. Yes, very Archivium. Yes. Crosspaths just announced that they're going to release a new Covens expansion now that the books are on their way to shipping destinations or distribution centers. Honestly, you probably could. It's all journal prompts. Yeah, and there's a little bit of combat. So yeah, I'm working on that. Oh, also I am going to put in some romance elements because I also want to submit this to the Romantasy TTRPG jam that's going on itch.io. And so I would need to add the romance to the Romantasy. So yeah, stay tuned. This is going to be a paid item, but it's not going to be for too much money. It'll be pay what you want. And I will probably have a few community copies for those without means. So stay tuned. I've been kind of brain rotting over it a little bit. Could play as an advanced scribe who is learning who they really are through the amnesia, and when they get overloaded, use your system instead of the Paragon system. Exactly! Although this means nothing to everybody else in chat. Just occurred to me, oh yeah, that's right. Y'all don't know what it's about. I only said what it is. But there you go, you get a little teaser. Cool, cool. I have been listed on Maya as my as my first playtester. Meaning I asked very politely if if she'd read it over, and she said yes. So I didn't really enlist anything. Very, very grateful to Amaya. That's why I was like, Amaya's awesome. Okay, so tonight's stream, I'm gonna continue working. I'm so busy with work. I was like, yeah, no, don't worry. I mean, you can't even really. we can discuss this later, but you can't even. What I gave you, you can't even really play it. There's nothing to do yet, so don't worry. You are fine. But okay, so yeah, tonight's stream, I'm gonna try working on more player races for this world, which by the way, I would love to play, like test play my scenario in this world, which is also why I'm like, alright, I've been kind of out of it this week. Even right now, my thoughts are not as coherent as I would like them to be, but I'm going to do my best because I really want to get this world into a somewhat playable state so that I can play in it. Yeah, games I want to play. So, last stream we worked on a group of beings that are kind of like eldritch-like in their form, and they use a combination of their natural shifting ability and magic to appear more like normal people, but they do have true forms that are not exactly like fully formed. Help me, pass me, like tentacles, fangs, sometimes they're just like a shifting mass of darkness with eyes peering through. That kind of thing. But that's just one. Let's see, actually, I can cross these out because these are essentially covered for now. Glad to see I'm not the only smooth brain this week. Yeah, Nick's got brain soup brain. Mine's kind of fuzzy. My sinuses are also a little buzzy too, but it could just be the same issue. I'm gonna be drinking a lot of water. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna have humans, gonna have elves, gonna have orcs. I don't know if I'm going to have dwarves. The community, as you can see by the poll here, because subscribers got to have a little vote in the Discord server, which, by the way, there's the link there. And they wanted to see some ancestries or folk that are kind of familiar, so elf, dwarf, orcs. So I've got the elf. We're gonna have an orc. The dwarves I'm not entirely sure on just yet. So, and I'm just gonna start with a few for now, and then perhaps maybe later some expansion kind of stuff could come out. Or if people start playing in this setting themselves, they can make their own dwarves. After it's out of my hands, you could do whatever you want. I mean, you won't be able to make money with it. That would be off limits, but you know. The humanoid animals I don't know yet. I have a kind of idea where maybe one of them is sort of like the Ronso in Final Fantasy X, where they're kind of lion-ish, but still kind of different from lions. Well, going to spend time with a partner, catch up on this later, have a good stream. Yeah, thanks, Pixel. You have a good time. Thanks for coming. I have been very good at uploading this to YouTube. It's in the pinned message, the playlist. I pinned the What's My Foundation book too, just in case I utilize that. I didn't utilize it last stream. The section for creating a people was a little bit more... I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Not enough. Brain too smooth. But it wasn't what I was really aiming for. So I didn't use it then. But I've pinned it in the message anyway, because it's a pretty awesome book. Okay. Oh, yeah, you'll have to forgive me if I turn myself around in circles a little bit. Like I said, brain's kind of fuzzy. I'm gonna do my best to stay focused. Yeah, so I got 2 of these, and then Elementals was also voted on, which I love this idea, and I have also been kind of thinking about that. Because for elves, I know I do not want them to have ultra long lifespans. Like in D&D, they can live like 800 years or something like that, 1,000 years, and I don't care for that. It's pretty hard to wrap the head around. How dare you? I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I don't. It gets really screwy. It gets when you start trying to think about the logistics of it and stuff, it gets a little fucky wucky. However, I was thinking that perhaps their big source of pride, of what makes them so uppity and hoity-toity, is that perhaps they were the first people created by the Dreamer, who is sort of like the origin of the universe. And the first host, which is the first host of gods that the Dreamer created, which you can see here. These ones are known. So you'll have a god of fire, water, nature, air, life, and death. And then there's a second host and a third host. But these guys are on top. I'm stealing that term. That's a new one. A little fucky wucky. Oh, hey!
Killarflame just subscribed for 5 months. 5 months chilling in the void?
Why did Why did Brian add a question mark at the end of that? But thank you, Killer. Thanks so much. Like I say, you and Amaya. Oh, you locked onto that right away, huh? Yeah, see, yeah, Yaoi Wizard got the person with the gills and feathers earlier, so I have to make the list longer, but not bad for something that I threw together 2 days ago in my kind of hazy brain state this week. And then yeah, for now you can spend stars on them, but eventually I am going to change that. And I'll also have longer lists so that you can have more combinations. I'm gonna see if I can gamify it a little. Okay. So, but I did just have... Yeah, see, Maya missed you too, Killer. We felt you, like, I know you weren't completely absent, but we felt your silence. And we were like, ah, the flame is not feeling well. Well wishes to the flame, whose light was burning a little dimmer. Well, I just realized my Fugi is not aligned. There we go. It's like I'm just here and sick. Yeah. Well, I hope you feel better soon. But you already know that. I'm needy. So I did just have an idea. What if the elves originally had long lifespans? But because this was the first group of people that the Kid Love Nerd, yeah! Look at that, we get to turn the tables. Now we get to suplex the flame with love. So what if the elves did have long lifespans at first, but because this was the first group of people that the Dreamer and the First created, they were like, oh, we probably need to dial this one back because they are outliving much of the world and kind of doing some crazy shit. So maybe we should dial that back a notch. And they dialed their lifespans back to maybe... They could still be a little longer lived than humans, but probably closer to what they live for in Draconum and Akaroth, which I think was something about like 200 years. Let's see. I love all the kid in Akaroth, but man, Ash was brutal with some of their lifespans. Ugh, yeah. Yeah, the shorter lived ones too. I'm probably not gonna have a group of people that live that short either. in this world. Like, I get that a full moon streaking through the void. I'm trying to imagine you as a meteor or a comet with a flaming tail behind you instead of a person streaking through a football field. Oh no, the flame has caught up with me. I would say too, uh, Ballads of Dawn, I think Hime also went for a very realistic kind of lifespan formula. You have to do math to figure out ages in that game. Very, very Hime coded. I can't remember what it was, but it was something about the lines of like, oh, if you're a hamster person, then you'll have an appropriate lifespan similar to a hamster, but with like the humanoid kind of calculation added in, if I remember right. And I was like, man, I don't know how long a hamster lives for, but that's rough. If you make animal characters, don't pull an Ash and only give them like 40 years. No, they would probably... Like... See, that's the thing. I only want like a couple of humanoid animal-like characters. Because that was the other thing in Ballads of Dawn too, is that it was just simply beast folk, so they're sort of like a wide umbrella. You could just choose whatever you wanted, which is cool. It works with the game. But the setting is going to be a little bit more specific about some things. And so I'm like, okay, well, I got two animal-like character races. What am I gonna do? Cats and dogs? Like, everybody loves dogs. Like dog people. Everybody loves cat people. I mean, I am very much a cat boy enjoyer myself. I just wonder if it was too overdone. So I think... Oh, hello, Kai. Welcome in. Is it because I was talking about dog people? Kai, I'm sorry, you might not find puppy girls in this world. You're triggering the bratty teen in me, and now I'm just making these a challenge to make just random races. I heard you. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe more of like one of them being something kind of like the Ronso, which are sort of like lion people, but they're not. They're kind of different. They're not just like the Hrothgar in Final Fantasy XIV. Those are just sort of like straight up, yep, they're lions, lion people. Whereas the Ronso kind of look a little bit more stylized. But so that I'm kind of ruminating on that. But they would not live for like 40 years. No worries. Because that also gets a little hard to think about. Because just imagine, like, you're a human and you're friends with someone that only lives for like 30 or 40 years. 40 at most. And like you only get to hang out with them for maybe just like a quarter of their life, and you're just watching them. To you, they're just like rapidly aging, and it's just, I don't know, it gets weird. Really sad the new EverQuest never got off the people. It had really cool lion people. I don't know what EverQuest is, but I mean, lion people are always kind of cool. They're cats, but more badass. Oh, That's right, I was typing this. Could go Panthera, which is just like all the big cats and just kind of do an amalgamation. Oh, EverQuest is a old school MMO, pre-WoW. Okay, okay. I play EverQuest with somebody, full stop. This sounds like something Nick and Vice would be into, yeah. Yeah, I can't tell if it sounds familiar to me or not. But the only I'm pretty sure I've only really played 3 different MMOs in my life. One of them I don't know, I can't remember the name of, but I don't think it lasted that long. And then it was RuneQuest, and then it was FF14. Gaia Online, if you can count that one. There's a forum board, but some of the stuff on there was pretty gamified. And then eventually they made the actual little games. But by that time I was already hitting college and I had to cut back on my time spent there. Let's see. I was going to make a note. There's a term for like correction. EverQuest Next, which never got released, was going to be a little bit like Minecraft in how you could modify the terrain but in a full MMORPG. It had commercials out when WoW was getting towards its apex, and I always thought EverQuest looked better. Ah. Well, you don't have to worry too much about me getting into WoW because, hate to say it, guys, but I don't like the aesthetic. I'm so sorry. It's not for me. I mean, the idea of having a house that I could like really play around and decorate with and stuff was appealing, but I was watching Vice play it and I was like, yeah, this style isn't really for me, I think. Just continues down the feline taxonomy since I missed out on MMO. Yeah. See, though, I don't know if I would want to do feline, though, because I know it's super popular, but I just don't know if, because I already have elves. I'm gonna have orcs, but it's gonna be, I already have an idea of how I'm gonna kind of like put my own little spin on them. But, yeah. I mean, because like, even Akaroth has dog people and cat people already. So it's sort of like, why? And I've got the elves and stuff. So yeah. I just repeated myself like 3 times. I'm so sorry. There is What about the desert kitties that are the most deadly felines in the world, but they are short like halflings? I don't know, but I know that the Panthera in Akaroth hail mostly from a desert type region. Panthera and Felidae. Oh, I swear there's a word I'm like. I think it's that. Like, big cats are literally their own subcategory and are literally genetically different than medium and small cats. I'm a nerd. Well, you're in good company. We're all nerds here, I think. I don't have the internet bandwidth for that. Okay, so the elves were the first people created by the dreamer and the first host. This is a huge point of pride to them, which they never let anyone forget. They were also originally very long-lived, having lifespans lasting up to 1,000 years, but the dreamer and the first decided this was far too long. And then I put like a side note here. The dreamer and the first observed the first elves with great interest, as the fledgling mortals created large civilizations and flourished. However, this quickly brought them to their own ruin, for such lifespans led to an imbalance in power, steep class differences based on the age of their members, and staggering advancements in technology. When their hubris destroyed their civilization, the dreamer and the first took the remainder of the elves and reduced their lifespans to the shorter average of 150 to 200 years. So we can still have slightly longer lifespans, but nothing too outrageous. But we can still kind of tie in that hoity-toity, stick up the butt elvish pride that you often see in elf tropes. And here's why they don't have super long lifespans. I wonder if I should adjust their birth rate too, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Slightly reduced birth rates. Alright, so now maybe I'll work on appearances. They could probably still keep the pointy ears. I had a thought. I had an image in my head. Alright, one sec. I gotta put my drawing glove on. Eventually I am going to sketch up, like, some sketches of people. Let's see. I need to... Where is my work file? Okay. Da da da. Whoop. Alright. Just move the microphone a little. Alright. Okay, so the elves, you know, they're typically depicted as being kind of taller than average. Slender, pretty. What if I kind of took that further? So these were the first people, the first mortals created. And they were created by essentially gods. And the gods are kind of larger than life because while the lifespan nerve screams, go sit in the corner and think about what you've done. Yeah. I'm thinking, like, perhaps they didn't... Maybe some of that knowledge was not retained, but I was thinking maybe there's a chance that there's an elf. There's still a couple of elves that had a long lifespan or something, but like, 1,000 years is probably not long enough. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, the gods were like, oh, we should probably dial this one back because they have very long lifespans, you know, they're deities, they essentially don't really die. I mean, they can die, but it would take great work to kill one of the first host. And as for the dreamer, it's kind of up in the air whether or not the dreamer could die. And no one even knows if there's more than one dreamer. Maybe there's another dreamer out in a different corner of the universe. No one knows. But also no one knows what would happen if the dreamer died, and the dreamer is where the world came from. So... But basically, the dreamer made the gods, the first host of the gods, because the dreamer didn't want to be alone anymore. And, well, and personally, if you are wanting to add romance to the game, it's kind of weird when one species lives for like 1,000 years and another only lives 100. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't stop the vampire lovers. But yeah, exactly. It gets pretty fucky wucky. um and yeah, that scenario is not going to be really tied to a specific world setting. You'd be like, if you would be able to play it in Legends of Azeroth, basically. You could play it in Fabula, like you could play it with Fabula Ultima. You could, play it in a 5e setting if you play solo 5e, that kind of thing. So it's not really tied to the world that I'm making right now, but I do intend on playing it in this world. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm getting excited for this. Thanks! Yeah! Yeah, this world is because I wanted to play Fabula Ultima, but Fabula Ultima doesn't really seem to have, like, character races and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm gonna make a world so that I could play solo Fabula Ultima in it. And then I'll make the world available to Discord members. And if you're a subscriber, you'll get the Obsidian Vault. So that's my plans there. I thought that was this. No. No, this project started before I started working on this scenario. The scenario was kind of in the back of my head. The game jam deadline is sometime in August. And I was like, oh, I should really get on this. So I was like, I'm gonna write out an outline of what I want the scenario to have. And then I actually started working on it. So I was like, oh. Well, guess I'm working on it now. Turns into no Fabula and you just make your own game. No, because I've seen what Ash has to go through. I mean, I could probably make a game to a certain point, but I don't want to make a combat system. Enough people have done that. I'm good. I don't want to deal with people who come in and go like, this is totally unbalanced. And I'm like, you are probably correct because I can't math. That's too much mathing and forethought and foresight and predicting and calculating values. Yeah, combat, that's totally a thing people enjoy. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't mind combat either, but I want stuff to go alongside the combat. I want the combat to be there as an option to, like, if words weren't enough, if you failed to convince somebody, or if some drunk dude decides to take a swing at you at the tavern, or you want to go slay some kind of beast so that you can get fangs that are gonna make this medicine that will save the life of somebody. I like having combat there as a tool, but I don't like it when it's the only thing you can do in the game, unless it's a game that's purely just designed for that. The person who always plays on peaceful uber easy level. I mean, I could do too, but mostly because I am not that good at games and I want to actually complete the game, so I'll lower the difficulty level. Because like I work full time and now I'm streaming and stuff. Like I don't have time to sit there and try to defeat a boss 20 times, I'm gonna put that on easy. I appreciate that more RPGs and stuff have add difficulty levels and stuff because yeah, it's not because I don't want to get good. It's just that I don't have time to get good. Okay. Um, I distracted myself. I was talking about yeah, so like oh, right. So the gods created so the dreamer created the first host of gods because the dreamer didn't want to be alone. And then together they created the world and the first group of people, which were the elves. And the way they did this is that they we were joking about it being they made a Sims game. They created a world, they created a group of people to live on the world, and then they just sat back and just watched them go. So on like a physical or metaphysical kind of way, you've got a god, and then you have like like a world. And because these guys could, I mean, they're probably not this big. They're probably a little smaller or something. But their form can change size. So their sense of scale is not going to be the same sense of scale that a mortal on the planet has. Because for the most part, their stuff doesn't change. They do not change in sizes drastically. Some of them may, you know, like the eldritch people may be able to shift, and maybe their true forms are kind of huge, but they walk around as kind of normal sized people, you know. But for the most part, they're a person's perspective is not going to really change too much. Whereas for God, they could have, you know, this outside view where, yeah, the world is big, but if they're viewing it from a, like a TV kind of perspective, like if they're looking down upon the world, to them, the world could be this small. And I'm thinking that because their sense of scale is kind of fluid, when they first make elves, they made them kind of like how they made them live for a little too long. They also made them a bit too tall. And so I'm thinking, let's see, here is a human. And we are used to seeing elves depicted as being taller than people, or taller than humans. But usually it's sort of like this tall, like this much taller. Is that? I think it's the I before E. That might be wrong. Don't call me out as a fake Lord of the Rings fan for misspelling his name. All right, so they're usually kind of like a little bit taller, yeah, kind of naturally tall. What if these elves are a bit taller than that? Like, kind of like how the aura in Final Fantasy 14 are like 7 feet tall. Like the male ones anyway. Like those lizard boys get big, or at least tall, because they got those itty bitty waists. And so they have these naturally long limbs. They're still slender, but we kind of get almost like a Slender Man vibe because they're so much taller. $28. A must have for elves. Let's see, there's a character height thing. A tool that you could use. Okay, alright. Let's see, let's see. Okay, there we go, now I can see chat. Just give me a moment and I'll paste this. Add person? Oh, I didn't add their height first. Oh, I guess I just plunked down a... Okay, so yeah, let's put this 5. An average human, kind of like 6 feet, I guess. Oh, can I not drag that around? Okay. Okay, and then Tolkien elves are sort of like on the 6'5". Or at least that's just kind of how they look. And then maybe we'll have like a 7'5". Oh, I see. Okay. Alright. Sorry. This thing I've only used once or twice, and it looks like they have changed it a little. Do you not have like a really slender... Oh, oh, that's... How'd they get wider? Sorry, I'm like I said, I have not used this before. Or like used this in a long while. So it's taking me a moment, but there's this website where you can kind of compare character heights. I wish I could change their weight. Or to make them a little like skinnier or something. And then let me put like a let me put a short person. Can I put a short person? So that we can get another... Let me put like a 5'2" person. Okay, cool. Now I can take a screenshot. I feel like this doesn't quite give what I was aiming for, but it's at least a little more accurate on the heights. Oh, that is quite tall. Small. There we go. Yeah, if you'd like to play around with this, here's the website. Essentially, you can make a little lineup of your characters, and then you can see how tall they are next to each other. So this is kind of what I had in mind in heights, where for humans, they're like kind of like 5 to 6 feet tall. Tolkien elves are kind of on the slightly taller side, but nothing too wild. They tend to look a bit taller in the Lord of the Rings movies because we have, like, Gimli is pretty short. Aragorn compared to Legolas is a little shorter, I believe. And then we got like Elrond looming over the hobbits is obviously going to look quite tall and imposing, and that's the other thing too, is that Elrond and then Galadriel, you know, they look very imposing, they have a lot of authority, so they're going to appear tall and large in height. But I don't think that they're actually that much taller. Where I think in this world, they'll be kind of like anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5 feet. But like kind of slimmer. Yeah. Let me draw over this real quick. Oh, yeah, there we go. And maybe their heads are also a little bit more elongated. I was thinking like maybe because they're so slender, they look a little eerie. Made a chart of all my current campaign members. Nice. Your elves are definitely giving more Fae vibes. That's a good point because I was wondering if there was going to be like a Fae realm. That's a good point. Interesting. Yeah, kind of fey in that regard. There we go. So now I have a better idea. That site definitely helped. Otherworldly and just slightly off and longer. Yeah. And I think them being taller like this too will also kind of contribute to the way that they look down on others, because they are literally looking down on others. And they see this as, excuse me, they see this as being proof of their uh proof of not authority, but the word for superior. Proof of their superiority over people like humans. Yeah. There we go. Now just imagine if you were like a 5'2" or something. And you're standing next to them. Actually, let's see. I should have scaled this. Okay, hold on. I wanna add the 5'2" person. Superior, like because they are taller, they are closer to the heavens and the gods than the other races? Yeah, in a way, because they were created by, they were the first mortals created by the gods, and so they have that going for them. And then because the other races kind of turned out usually shorter, like for the most part shorter, that also kind of contributes to their feeling of superiority. They also used to be something like 1,000 years long lived, but that got dialed back. The gods were like, let's dial this back a little. This actually isn't working that well. Also, welcome in. Okay. There we go. I wanted to have like a bit of a both sides of the, like a human average. Because yeah, imagine being 5'2" and coming up to the rib cage of one of these things. I mean, that's basically playing Final Fantasy XIV right there. Okay. Oop. There we go. I'm gonna copy this and put this in my notes. Alright, elves have pointed ears that vary in length and shape. They tend to have thin and silky hair types, but this has changed in time to have greater texture variety. Their builds are often very tall, the tallest of the peoples in the world, with an almost unnaturally slim build. You may occasionally see one with a wider set frame or a shorter height, but it is usually assumed that they are of mixed blood, even if they are full-blooded. Have a little bit of a, you're not like us. If you don't look like us. Which would be in track with their haughty, better than thou attitude. Okay, so I feel like that's a good start for elves. It's not like I'm really seeking to reinvent the wheel or anything. Okay, I still got humans sitting here, but I think what I'll do is I might actually move on to orcs next, because I did already kind of have an idea for orcs. So I don't think they're gonna be as complicated. Dark Sun campaign setting for D&D also had very tall elves, but they had very long legs compared to the size of their torso. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was doing the sketches. I was thinking about maybe raising up their pelvis. But I decided not to. I think some people would probably be able to give them longer length of legs if they wanted to. I don't want to be too, like, oh, you can only have a skinny elf. I do want players to be able to be like, what if I have a chunkier elf? That kind of thing. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't play a fat elf, because you can. It might be that your elf may get looked down on, but that could be part of the game's conflict or something. But I feel like too that kind of thing would probably be looked down upon by everybody else. Because it's not like elves as like a society as a whole need to be good. They are kind of stuck-ups. But you could still have good elves, you know, who aren't fat phobic. And then maybe that could be part of the player setting. Okay, before I get to orcs, I'm going to go use the bathroom. So I will be right back. Alright, thank you for waiting. It's asking Cheeky if little man got dinner. So the cats are being fed. I'm kinda good, I think, for a little bit longer before I need to take a break for dinner. We'll see. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. My if you weren't here earlier, yeah, I said I was kind of a little out of it because of a certain reason. So, oh, and of course an ad is going to start. That's great. You know what? Since I already have an idea, I'll write out what I had, and then I can fill any more details after the ad break. Need to grab my tape measure. Okay, so for orcs, I didn't want to go with the whole like, oh, they have tusks growing from their jaw. I thought instead, what if they had something else? And then I also thought, you know, they're usually green. Sometimes you might see them blue. Sometimes you might see them red. More often than not, they're kind of green. Sometimes gray, depending on what you're watching. Um, and I thought, I was like, well, you know, there are different types of biomes in this world. There's, you know, let's see, where's my, yeah, so got, probably not going to see too many from like a desert region because the area where I'm going to focus in is kind of this trio of continents over here. And these are just kind of rough blobs. These are not obviously not going to be the actual shapes of the land masses. This is just where what I rolled for numbers of land masses, and then I rolled some dice to see where their location was. I rolled to see like what the map looked like, basically. And then I just kind of threw on some rough biomes here. So I'm thinking, you know, we got orcs who might come from a colder, more mountainous region. Well, they typically have blue skin tones. And if they're from a desert area, they typically have red skin tones. And then if they are from like the jungles or deep forested places, they'll have green skin tones. Kind of going in line with the idea of camouflaging and blending in with surroundings. I'm gonna throw that over there. So yeah, skin tones vary in shades of red, green, and blue based on the region they hail from. Those from the desert or hot areas have red hues, while blue are from colder and mountainous regions. Those that have green shades of skin are from jungles or forested regions. Kind of just, you know, typically in JRPGs you see like kind of like goblins or something where they color code based on what region you're in. It's kind of similar to that. Maybe orcs tend to have shorter necks than other species, having to turn their shoulders more than other races when looking around, resulting in many of them having better developed chest and shoulder muscles than other species. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thought. A good way of thinking about it. And then instead of tusks protruding from the lower jaw, they have points of bone jutting from their jaws, cheeks, and brows. These points vary in number and length, but are typically no longer than 2 inches. Orcs also have pointed ears, though they're not as long as elves' ears and don't protrude as far out from the skull. Their heights average from 5'5" to 6'5", but it's not unusual to see one as tall as 7 feet. Similar to elves, while they are typically bulky in build, you may still see a slender and short orc from time to time. And I need to do this notification. Yeah, and I'm thinking too that I think they might get kind of decorative. I was also considering the idea of maybe they have horns on their head. But I'm not sure. The Eldritch-like people may have horns depending on how they like to style themselves in their quote-unquote normal form. But these, I don't know. Almost kind of thinking of like Darth Maul, but not necessarily like around the crown of the skull, but also like along the cheeks. Did I say cheeks? Okay, I did. Jaws, cheeks, brows. I'm gonna put a note to myself here. Because I don't want them to look just like warlike or something. I don't want to put them in a box. Okay, cool. Just a little side note to myself. Okay, so then the origin. These guys came last. The Eldritch folk. They were created last because they weren't meant to be created at all. They were created because a god, two gods in the second host of deities collaborated. They wanted to create their own type of mortal. And they sure did. They kind of fucked it up a little. But they have souls. But because they have souls, they couldn't hide their mistake. Or they couldn't undo what they had done without getting in severe trouble. So they tried to hide them away, got discovered, the people were set free, and the god in charge of the nature domain was basically like, well, if they can live as they are, then they have every right to live. And so they live. Compared to the points of bone sticking out from the jaw could cause issues and hit their clavicles when turning their head, so many to turn. Yeah, maybe I wasn't thinking of that long though. Only about like 2 inches. I have almost like let's see if I could find what I'm thinking of. There was some kind of lizard that I was thinking of. Oh, here we go. Here's one of them. Is it what type of lizard is this? I mean, these are a bit longer than what I had in mind, but I wasn't thinking of any. Like, it is kind of similar to what I was thinking of. Let me grab this image. Copy. Okay, I'm still getting used to this web browser. Okay, and then I need to. So I have to juggle windows everywhere. Back to Clip Studio. Yeah, so like these are a little long, but kind of like this. So I was kind of thinking of and I haven't drawn in a few days. It's a good thing that I'm going to be drawing on stream with Cheeky and stuff tomorrow, because holy cow, I have not drawn in a while. A little rusty. Where's my sketch eraser? There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, so I was thinking about horns, kind of like Oop, that's a little too long. Kind of like that. And then maybe, depending on, maybe I'll add a couple more details, but like they'll have, maybe some of them have the horn nubs or something on their nose. I don't know, just eyes. Kind of like that. Because this is also a an anime influenced world, and from isekai series and stuff like that. So you don't, I'm not thinking too heavily in realism and stuff. It is going to be kind of on the fantastical side, where maybe something realistically wouldn't happen, but we got that anime logic working for us. And maybe it's not just, yeah, because it wouldn't be just the cheeks and stuff too. There's probably other protrusions elsewhere. And then if they like decorations and stuff. Yeah, just the notes too. Okay. Like I said, eventually I'll do sketches of everybody. I was thinking about doing that tomorrow too, during tomorrow's stream. So maybe a bit like the Zabrak from Star Wars, but the horns can also come from the jaw or cheekbones instead of just the head and brow ridge. Yeah, I had some on their cheeks. Yeah. Cool. There we go. I don't know, something about the orcs just simply having like big tusk and then just being beefy just didn't feel as fun, and I feel like this might be a little bit more fun. Alright, and then like as for origin, let's see, where were... So elves were first, maybe, yeah, maybe orcs came next. I'm thinking that a couple of them were probably created about the same time. It wasn't all just like, okay, we made this one, now we made this one, next we made this one, next we made that one, next we made... I'm thinking that a few of these were probably created at about the same time. And by different gods. Perhaps the god in charge of nature put their hands on these. Since they are very... since they are kind of... their appearances are sort of specific to different biomes. And if they are kind of meant to blend in with their environment, that would be kind of a very nature thing. After the first race was created and the concept was proven to work, multiple gods created their own species at the same time in a wave of race creation after an initial proof of concept. Yeah, pretty close. Because the elves they created the elves set them loose upon the world, and then was like, oh, made a couple of judgment errors, made those fixes, and then probably started making some more. And so the god of nature partnered with the dreamer to create the orcs. Life and death would have a hand in all of them, I think. And let's see. So that would leave these three. Got that taken care of. So that's gonna be 1. So I would have an extra. These guys. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Ooh, okay. I have an idea for these guys. Maybe. Here. Okay, so elementals weren't created. They appeared shortly after humans were made and in a mysterious fashion. To the gods, one day elementals were not there, and the next they were. The theory is that they were created from large patches of ambient mana, that they were mana given shape and form. However, it doesn't explain how they came to possess souls, and they perish like any other mortal. And then I put a little note, a little secret. Unbeknownst to the first, the dreamer had a little more fun before they awoke and began their journey. They were already enamored by the world they created with the first, adored it, and loved it. They fashioned the elementals from magic, inspired by rivers, mountains, fires, and the winds. It was their last gift to the world before their dream ended. Their appearance I'll probably give some more thought to. There is a particular person that is going to have great interest in elementals. It is what he voted for in the poll. And so I will probably ask him a couple of questions. Because I know that if he played in this world, he would totally want to be a flame elemental. I mean, if he's still here in chat, then by all means. But I know that he's been under the weather, so he might just be kind of lurking if he's even still here, which is totally fine. I know where he lurks. But yeah, okay, so and then that's just I need to add. Let's see, so in the grand scheme of things, the Eldritch ones came last. I'm just gonna put these in order of creation. Because the second host of deities was created after the dreamer awoke. Okay. So that means that the Eldritch beings came after the elementals. Okay. And then for later, I'm just gonna put placeholder headers. And then we'll say one of these was fire. Got a fire's involvement. The other one had the god of water involved. And then we would have humans. Humans came after them. Humans would be the last collaborative group effort, I think. So by this point, they would take what they learned across making these other ones and then put out humans. Possibly as kind of a, not really a gag group of people, but we made some people who are really cool. They're all pretty different. What if we made a bunch of normies? Kind of like what if we had like a normal baseline and nothing remarkable about them? And what would happen if people who didn't really have anything too remarkable were added to this world? What would they do? And I think that's where we would have the whole like human ingenuity coming to the be their strength. Let me go ahead and add that in while I still have it in my head. The earth elementals might have been the first to mine at a large scale and have a natural ability to sense the purity of metals and other minerals. Earth elementals were the first to create metal coins. One side of the coin would hold the weight and purity information. The other side of the coin would be blank. Other races started to use these coins, stamping their own symbols on the blank side. That's an interesting concept of putting the purities on the back. That is very interesting. I have not yet touched on the idea of, or the what's it, category? I don't know, of like economics and stuff like that. I was actually thinking, because I kind of skipped ecology and kind of went right towards Origin of Civilization, because I was following this book, What's My Foundation? It's linked in the pinned chat. But if, yes. So this book is pretty cool. It kind of takes you from the origin. Oh, did I hear her knocking? Or was that Cheeky in the other room? I don't think that was knocking. There shouldn't be anybody knocking. They can go away. There should not be anybody knocking at my door. But anyway, yeah, so it starts you off with the origin of the universe, works your way down to anthropology and stuff like that. But I skipped ecology because I was like, I really wanted to get to the peoples of the world. So that is how. Because of this, gold coins all across the world have the same purity and weight. So as a DM, you don't have to bother with exchange rates between different currencies. Yeah, that is an interesting concept. Yeah. Yeah, and I've not put any thought into currencies and stuff like that. I know that they're like, I did sort of map out possible like trade passages between these different land masses, but that was just musing upon them. And eventually I'm going to make a more proper map. I was like, oh, this could be the reason that family gets me to boot up and learn Cartographer 3, and I just found out that they're going to be kickstarting Cartographer 4, so I was like, oh, well. But I think it's gonna be, from what I was reading, it's gonna be the similar software. They're just gonna be overhauling the UI, which is great because, oh my god. So that software looks as old as it is. It's pretty dated and overwhelming to look at. I have not learned how to use it, but I will eventually. And they said that they're gonna work on making it backwards compatible. So all of the stuff that I took the time to download and install and haven't used is going to still be usable, which is great. It was one of those humble bundle deals last year that I got, where you would get the software and you got all of these other add-ons for it. I think I opened it, was like, yeah, this is overwhelming. Are there tutorials? And I looked on YouTube, and there's tutorials from like 17 years ago, and they sound like it, and they're hard to follow because they sound like they're from 20 whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe a later day. And then that later day never came. So, but maybe I'll finally get off my ass and learn it. Make a nice proper map, because I do want to learn it. Incarnate was nice, but that's a subscription, and Cartographer was a one-time purchase. So I wanted to sit and learn it. But anyway, let's see. What was I? Okay, so orcs I did. Strike through. Okay, elementals, still working on. Oh, right, humans. That's right, I wrote the thing about humans. Yes, the humans, the last group of people created jointly between the Dreamer and the First. Having created several groups of mortals with unique strengths, there was a question posed. What if there were mortals that didn't have anything special about them? Were they were simply average? Let me put another word. And they were simply average. And so mortals, humans, you can tell that my brain fog is slipping in. And so humans were created. While not the shortest group of people, the humans were certainly not the tallest. Their capacity for mana is, for the most part, average. Their appearances were similar to elves and orcs, but almost like a mixture. They came in a wide variety of builds and colors, with different types of hair textures, skin tones, and body proportions. Their lifespans were the shortest, averaging from 60 to eventually 120 with the help of technological and medical advancements, including that of magical. Their birth rate was fairly high, but their tendency to get into situations that prematurely ended their life was also high. However, it came to be seen eventually that humans did have one strength: their creativity, ingenuity, and stubbornness to do things even if they knew it was stupid, because maybe, just maybe, it'd work out anyway. Feeling old with the 2000s being referred to as long ago. Yeah, it doesn't feel that long ago. But can I open it? I've not actually opened it since I installed it. Where did I even put the campaign cartographer? There we go. That's the word. It's like I don't know if you've ever seen this. Okay, I got it open. It actually doesn't take that long to open. Oop. We are going to change. Oop, not that. Where did I put it? Is it not picking it up? Oh, here we go. This is what it looks like. This is what I was like, oh yeah, it looks like from the 2000s. I was not joking. Oh man, it's been a while since I've opened this, and looking at it, I'm just like, oh my god, yeah. Oh. Is all this? Yeah, I don't know what half of this does. What is that? Oh, I got arms. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I gotta read like the manual. What is this? Full monster figures. Oh, look, a bear, an owlbear. Wait, are they naked? I think they look naked. I don't think I could. Anyway. So yeah, not. I would have to say that looking at this is similar to how I felt when I first opened Blender, and that was when I used Blender version 2 before they overhauled the user interface. Campaign Cartographer 3 was released on June 30th, 2006. Wow, so that means, as of a couple of days ago, this software is 20 years old. And they're just now gonna crowdfund for version 4. That is so funny. But it's pretty cool though, because they are not going to use Gen AI crap, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, where did I put obsidian? Oh, OBS has lost track of obsidian, apparently. The software is almost old enough to drink in the USA. Almost. It's not gonna make it. They're gonna make it. They're gonna go to number 4 before it could drink. Okay, let me close this. Yeah, so the tutorials on YouTube are not as good as what you can find nowadays. They are pretty low quality because, you know, back then that kind of recording was a bit harder to do, not as easy to do. The microphones were not as good. They do have a manual. I think the only time I've ever had to read a manual to use a software was maybe some Photoshop back in the day, but it wasn't a manual, it was more like a textbook in class back in high school in like 2007. And then a few pages for DaVinci Resolve, because they have a pretty good manual book. And then it's almost like one great big tutorial, and that's a video editing software. I can highly recommend that as a replacement to like Adobe crap. Free to use too. And their money comes from a more advanced professional version of the software and their own recording and audio equipment. So the company, so like you could feel pretty safe working with DaVinci Resolve, because they already have an established business model where their money that would fund that software is already coming in from other sources. I'm a little cautious of software that is free to use and don't have a clear business model, because from what I've seen in the past, the way things usually goes, or at least the instances and the examples that I've seen, is they get too big, they can't afford anything, they try to find investors, they start paywalling shit, everything starts getting sucky, and eventually they either sell out, close up, go under, or stop being relevant. Original Campaign Cartographer was released in 1993 and had a 334-page manual. Amazing. Let's see, I have the manual in the same folder. How many pages is this one? Oh, it's 99 pages. So they either streamlined it or just simply made it a little bit more succinct. Fun. Hilarious. Okay. Huh. Humans. Oh, I sort of wrapped their appearance into this. Maybe I'll just remove this. There we go. Not really too much else to say about humans. They are always going to be bland, unbuttered toast in my eyes. I usually never play a human if there are non-human options. Okay, so I have accomplished what I was hoping to accomplish in this session. I feel like I did pretty good despite my head being mostly empty and have been empty for the last couple of days. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more back to myself tomorrow. But I am going to wrap this up tonight, and I'll be back in the morning with Cheeky. Throw that out there. I'm going to be doing some drawing. Probably going to do some sketches maybe of some of these races just so that I can add them to my notes and stuff. Might also do some style studies, we'll see. But I will be doing some art stuff. Cheeky will be playing Persona 4. So you'll have the option of watching her or me or both in split screen. And then afterwards we will play something. Don't know what yet. I actually need to talk to her about it. But yeah, it will be good fun bestie vibes. And then on Sunday, we will finally resume our Legends of Zakkariiart, but make it Final Fantasy XIV campaign. We wound up having to put it down for the entirety of June by accident. Just the stars were not aligned. We had some things happening on Sundays and it just didn't happen. But we are going to make it happen this Sunday, and we are going to go find some bandits, hopefully. And then hopefully my character will not crumple like a wet napkin, because, oh golly, the enemies can hit hard. And we are just level 1. So yeah, that'll be on Sunday. Oh, let's see what's going on. A lot of people that I know were streaming earlier today. What we've got that is kind of relevant. Oh, you know what? We were talking about old MMOs earlier in the stream. And Vice Capitan is back to playing old school RuneScape. So that's kind of relevant. It's gonna be chill, fun vibes. Vice is a great guy. He is very smart and creative. Don't let him tell you otherwise. Let's see. Get the raid message. There's that, and thanks again everybody for coming. I know I was a little scattered brained today, but I really wanted to make sure I got a stream in this week after having to cancel earlier this week. So greatly appreciate it. And then yeah, hope everybody has a good weekend if they are in the States. I hope you have a safe weekend and that you don't have to put up with too many asshats launching fire rockets near your backyard. Take care and safe travels through the veil. Bye bye.
If this works before we tell anyone else.